Tonight, something is going to happen to you that scientists still can't fully explain. You're going to close your eyes, and somewhere between one breath and the next, you, the person watching this right now, the one with thoughts and opinions and a whole life going on, are going to disappear. Not die, not pass out, just stop being there. And then, a few hours later, you're going to come back, like it never happened. You've done this thousands of times. You'll do it again tonight. And you've probably never stopped to ask the question that actually matters. Where did you go? Let's slow it all the way down and actually look at what happens. You're lying in bed, the lights are off, you're tired, your eyes close, and for the first few minutes, nothing dramatic happens. You're still kind of aware. You can still hear sounds from outside. You might still be thinking about something from earlier in the day, but then something starts to shift. Your brain waves slow down, your breathing gets steadier. Your muscles start to relax in a way you can't consciously control. And somewhere in that window, scientists call it stage N1, something strange starts to happen. You might see things, not dreams, not yet, just flashes, a face you don't recognize, a shape moving in the dark behind your eyelids, a color that blooms and disappears. Sometimes you hear a word spoken clearly in a room that has no one in it. Sometimes you feel like you're falling, and your whole body jerks awake. That jerk has a name. It's called a hypnic jerk. And the falling feeling that causes it, completely normal. Your brain is letting go of your body, and for just a second, it panics. This whole in-between zone, not quite awake, not quite asleep, is called the hypnagogic state, and it's one of the weirdest places the human brain can go. Here's what makes the hypnagogic state so strange. Your brain isn't asleep yet, but it's stopped being fully awake. The logical part of your mind, the part that fact-checks things, the part that says, wait, that doesn't make sense, starts to go offline first. What's left is something looser, more creative, more open to weird combinations of things. And that's why, historically, some of the greatest ideas in human history have come from this exact state. Thomas Edison used to fall asleep in his chair, holding metal balls in his hands. The moment he drifted off, the balls would drop and clatter to the floor, waking him up just enough to grab whatever thought had appeared in that hypnagogic window. He believed his best ideas lived there. Salvador Dalí did the same thing with a key and a plate. He'd sit in a chair, hold the key over the plate, let himself drift, and when the key clanged down, he'd immediately paint whatever he'd just seen. His most surreal paintings came from exactly this place. Auguste Kekulé, the chemist who discovered the ring structure of benzene, one of the most important discoveries in organic chemistry, said the answer came to him in a half-asleep vision of a snake eating its own tail. The hypnagogic state isn't sleep, it's something else entirely. A crack in the wall between conscious and unconscious where ideas slip through in both directions. But here's where things get genuinely strange. Because what happens next, when you actually cross the line into real sleep, raises a question that has bothered neuroscientists for decades. If your brain is still active when you're asleep, why does the you part go away? For a long time, scientists assumed that sleep was basically the brain shutting off, like turning off a computer. They were wrong. When researchers put electrodes on sleeping people's heads and measured their brain activity, they found something that genuinely confused them. The brain never fully goes quiet. Neurons are still firing. Electrical signals are still moving. The brain's metabolism stays almost as high during sleep as it is during waking. So, if the brain is still on, why aren't you there? The answer has to do with how different parts of your brain communicate. When you're awake, different brain regions are constantly talking to each other. The frontal cortex, the part responsible for reasoning, self-awareness, the sense that you are you, stays connected to everything else. Information flows freely. You have a continuous experience of being a person in a world. When you fall asleep, those connections start to drop. Not all of them, just the specific ones that link your conscious self to the rest of the processing. Scientists in Finland discovered that the key shift happens in a core network deep inside the brain, involving the thalamus, the cingulate cortex, and a region called the angular gyri. When blood flow drops in this network, consciousness fades. When it comes back, you do too. Your brain keeps running. the operating system stays on, but the user logs off. Now you're actually asleep. And over the next 90 minutes, your brain is going to do something that looks completely counterintuitive. It's going to get busier. Sleep happens in cycles. Each cycle runs about 90 minutes and has 4 stages. The first 2 are lighter. Your brain is slowing down, your body temperature is dropping, your heart rate is falling. This is when your brain produces short bursts of electrical activity called sleep spindles. Nobody fully understands what they do yet, but the best current theory is that they're your brain sorting through the day's memories, deciding what to keep and what to let go. Stage 3 is deep sleep. Delta waves, slow, powerful, rhythmic. Your brain is at its quietest. Your body is doing its most intensive repair work. Growth hormone gets released. Your immune system ramps up. If you ever wake someone up in stage 3, they'll be completely disoriented. Not just groggy, genuinely confused about who they are and where they are for several seconds. Because in stage 3, the you is about as far away as it gets. And then something almost unbelievable happens. About 90 minutes after you fell asleep, your brain flips. It goes from its quietest state to something that looks almost identical to being wide awake. Heart rate goes up. Eyes start moving rapidly under your eyelids. Brain activity surges, and the part of your brain responsible for emotion, the amygdala, becomes even more active than it is when you're fully conscious. This is REM sleep. And this is where it gets really interesting, because your brain isn't just active during REM sleep, it's doing something specific, something purposeful. And the fact that it involves completely paralyzing your body should tell you just how seriously your brain takes what's happening next. During REM sleep, your brain sends a signal down your spinal cord that temporarily paralyzes almost every muscle in your body. Not partly, almost completely. You can't move your arms, you can't move your legs, you can barely move your face. The only things still working are your eyes, darting back and forth behind closed lids, and the muscles you need to breathe. This isn't a malfunction, it's a feature. Your brain is about to run a simulation, and it needs to make sure you don't physically act it out. Dreams happen here. And despite what you may have heard, science still doesn't have a complete answer for why. But there are some really compelling theories. One is that dreaming is emotional maintenance. During REM sleep, your brain replays emotionally significant memories, but with the stress hormones stripped out. It's like your brain is processing what happened to you, but in a safe chemical environment where the anxiety can't attach. This may be why sleep deprivation is so strongly linked to emotional instability. Without enough REM, your brain never gets to process the emotional weight of the day. Another theory, from neuroscientist David Eagleman at Stanford, is that dreams exist specifically to keep your visual cortex active at night. Your brain is incredibly flexible. It reassigns underused areas to other functions extremely quickly. Go long enough without visual input and other senses start taking over the visual cortex. Dreaming might be your brain's way of keeping that space occupied, defending its territory. A third theory is that dreams are your brain running threat simulations, practicing responses to dangerous scenarios so you're better prepared to handle them awake, which might explain why so many people dream about being chased, falling, or showing up somewhere completely unprepared. Your brain is rehearsing. The honest answer is it's probably all three, to varying degrees, depending on the person and the night. Here's what happens when the REM paralysis system glitches. Imagine you're starting to wake up. Your conscious mind comes back online. You're aware of your room, your bed, the sounds around you, but the paralysis signal hasn't lifted yet. You're awake, and you cannot move. This is sleep paralysis, and between 8 and 50% of people experience it at some point in their lives. It usually lasts only a few seconds to a couple minutes, but in those minutes, your brain, which is still half in dream mode, starts filling the gaps with hallucinations. A figure in the corner, something sitting on your chest, a presence at the door. Throughout human history, people have interpreted sleep paralysis as demonic possession, alien abduction, visits from supernatural entities. The specific hallucinations vary by culture, but the experience is universal. Every major civilization has described it. The mechanisms are always the same. REM bleed into wakefulness. The paralysis that was protecting you from acting out your dreams, now trapping you inside them. Once you understand what's actually happening, it stops being terrifying and becomes something else entirely. Proof of how precisely calibrated your sleeping brain is, and what it looks like when one piece of that precision slips, just briefly, out of sync. So where does your mind go when you fall asleep? The honest answer is, it doesn't go anywhere. You stay right there. Your brain keeps running, keeps working, keeps doing things that are in some ways more important than anything you do while you're awake. It's processing your memories, regulating your emotions, repairing your body, running simulations of the scenarios you haven't faced yet. What disappears isn't you. It's just your awareness of being you. The sense that there's someone home. That specific feeling of being a conscious person with a name and a life and thoughts about what you just watched. That's the thing that goes quiet when you sleep. And when it comes back in the morning, it feels so natural, so automatic, that you never question it. But here's the thing nobody tells you. Scientists don't fully understand how that feeling exists in the first place. Consciousness, actual conscious experience, the feeling of being someone, is still one of the greatest unsolved problems in all of science. We know a lot about what the brain does during sleep. We know almost nothing about how any of it produces the experience of being you. Which means that every night when you fall asleep and disappear and come back again, you're doing something the smartest people on the planet still can't explain.